wondering, because I was thinking that, what are the other types of sampling? Can you please elaborate? Types of probability sampling. The first one is pretty much basic, and it's called the simple random sampling. In simple random sampling, it is the most widely used sampling method because maybe it's easy to implement and easy to analyze. So each member of the population has an equal chance of getting selected as subjects. In this probability sampling, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Its advantage is that it is ideal for statistical purposes, and its advantage would be in practice it is hard to achieve. There are a lot of ways to obtain such results. One way is through the lottery method, wherein, for an instance, you have a population with 20 members. So each of them has their own selected numbers. So these numbers are being kind of raffled, and then in this case you pick, let's say, 10 members. So you pick 10 numbers, and then the member of that number will be selected for the reason. The next one is the stratified random sampling. This technique, the researcher divides the whole population into different subgroups, or in this case, it is called the strata. So then from that, they randomly select the final subjects proportionally from different stratum. So all of the stratified sampling designs falls into one of two categories. The first one is the proportionate stratification, and the second one is the disproportionate stratification. In proportionate stratification, the sample size of each stratum is proportionate to the population size of each stratum. So this means that they have the same sampling fraction. For the disproportionate stratification, is the opposite. They don't have the same sampling fraction. So to illustrate that, imagine a group at a huge population which is divided into four subgroups or stratum, four strata. So for proportionate stratification, they get the same sampling fraction for each stratum. While for the disproportionate, they have unequal, but still part of the whole population. The third probability sampling technique is the systematic sampling. It is a variant of simple random sampling that involves listing of elements. So every nth element is drawn for inclusion in the sample. So for an instance, we have a list of, let's say, 1,000, and you need a sample size of 100. So you have to follow 3 steps in order to create such samples. So the first one is to divide the population size by the desired sample size. So that's 1,000 divided by 100, so the value is 10. The next step is from 1 to the number attained a while ago. So in this case 10, you pick a random number between those two. So 1 to 10. So I think, say I chose number 5. So the last step is to start in step 2. And then every 10th record, you get they are drawn into inclusion in the sample. So start with 5. Then 15, 25, etc. And that's how systematic sampling works. The fourth probability sampling technique is the cluster sampling. In cluster sampling, instead of selecting all the subjects from the entire population right off, the researcher takes several steps in order to get his own sample population. So, for an instance, we want to survey the academic performance of college students in the Philippines. So the first thing we should do is to divide the entire population, in this case the Philippines, into different clusters, or we may call it the cities in the Philippines. And then, from those clusters, he uses simple random sampling to select from those selected clusters, the researcher up to either include all the college students or just pick some of them through simple random sampling. So in this sampling technique, there are two types of cluster sampling. The one-stage cluster sample and the two-stage cluster sample. Recall the example a while ago. In one-stage cluster sample, it is when the researcher includes all of the college students, while in two-stage cluster sample, he just took some of it, some of the samples from the cluster. Lastly, the fifth type of probability sampling is the multi-stage sampling. So in this sampling, it is pretty much the combination of one or two probability sampling.